Alright mates, how's it going? In today's video, I'm covering the Hour of Twilight from Chronicle Volume 3. So let's go! Deathwing wasn't leaving anything to chance. The army of Twilight dragons and cultists that had gathered outside Wyrmrest Temple was the biggest bloody army he'd ever seen. The temple was surrounded from both the ground and the air, and even Azeroth had sent some minions to help. The Unraki, or Faceless Ones. The ones that talk like they've got a mouthful of dicks. But the Dragon Aspects and the champions of the Horde and Alliance didn't have to face these enemies alone, because a whole bunch of peeps from the red, blue, green and bronze dragonflights arrived at Wyrmrest Temple as well. There were more dragons in the sky than you could shake a stick at. So many in fact, that the sun got all blotted out and shiz. And the battle to end all battles until the next battle began. The costs on all sides were horrific. Hundreds of cultists and Twilight dragons snuffed it, which isn't a bad thing. This included the Twilight Father himself. Chronicle just kind of glosses over it, but basically he attempted to assassinate Thrall, failed miserably, and then got killed. And many of the temple's defenders died in battle as well. But they didn't die in vain. Their sacrifice ultimately allowed the Dragon Aspects to focus on empowering the Dragon Soul, and then use it. Thrall unleashed the artifact's power on the aspect of death, and he was like, oh jeez. That hurt a hell of a lot more than I thought it would. I think it's time to cheese it. And cheese it he did. Deathwing, although heavily wounded and absolutely bloody furious, fled towards the Maelstrom in the hope that he could reach Deepholm. If he could take refuge in the realm of Earth, he could recover from this injury and then come back a little bit more prepared next time. But the defenders of Wyrmrest weren't going to let him get away. They'd had enough of his shit. They boarded an airship called the Skyfire and took flight, and then chased after the bugger. As they pursued him through the skies, they slowly whittled away at his strength. However, the Elementium plates infused to Deathwing's body were still protecting him somewhat. And also, the good guys soon found themselves distracted by some Twilight's Hammer Drake riders. These drakes attacked the Skyfire's engines, and for a moment, it looked like Deathwing was going to get away after all. But he bloody didn't! The heroes managed to kill all of the drakes, and their leader, repair the engines, and then catch up with Deathwing again, so it's fine. After that, champions from both factions got real brave and parachuted down to land on the Black Dragon Aspect's back. The plan was, just start bloody ripping those Elementium plates off him, so that Thrall had a clean shot with the Dragon Soul. Not all of the champions made it though. Some just completely misjudged the jump and probably drowned in the sea. Others did manage to land on Deathwing's back, but got thrown off because the asshole kept doing barrel rolls and stuff. But eventually, the champions managed to expose enough of Deathwing for Thrall to use the Dragon Soul once again. And down Deathwing went. He fell, seemingly to his death, into the Maelstrom, and the heroes celebrated. With this victory, they'd prevented a second cataclysm, one that would have ultimately destroyed all life on the planet. They danced, they cheered, and they all looked like idiots because Deathwing wasn't dead at all. Azeroth had kind of realised at this point that its servant was pretty much defeated. So the old god made one final desperate attempt to turn the tide. It infused Deathwing with even more of its power, more than it had ever given the Black Dragon Aspect before. So much in fact, that Deathwing's unstable body wrenched apart, and a whole bunch of lava tentacles came out of him. Thrall, again, tried to use the Dragon Soul against this aberration, but it wasn't quite enough this time, so the Dragon Aspects made a choice. They sacrificed all of their remaining power into the artifact, and combined with the element of Earth that Thrall had woven into the weapon, it was definitely enough. Deathwing's mind and body were completely bloody obliterated. Everyone then kind of sheepishly looked at each other like, can we celebrate now? Is it safe? It was over. Azeroth's campaign to bring about the Hour of Twilight had collapsed. He'd failed, just like all the other old gods. Azeroth was saved, but it was forever changed. The cataclysm had reshaped the world and claimed countless lives. It was going to take years for each nation to recover from the damage, and for some, there was no going back to the way things were ever again. Take the Dragon Aspects, for example. They'd sacrificed their power. Although they would continue to remain active in Azeroth's affairs, they could no longer serve as its protectors. But at least they now knew that the mortals of this world were capable of doing the job instead. Just as they had with Medivh previously, the Horde and Alliance had proven they could face any force that threatened Azeroth. However, it's important to remember that they're also kinda dumb. This latest victory didn't change the fact that both factions absolutely hate each other. It never does. The cycle of hatred remained unbroken. If you're thinking the defeat of Deathwing and the Twilight's Hammer cult would bring the Horde and Alliance closer together, you couldn't be more wrong. With no other threat to worry about, both factions could now focus all of their attention on destroying each other, even if the war took them to some faraway undiscovered land full of pandas and stuff. And we're leaving it there! So that's it. End of Volume 3. Which means these Chronicle videos have finished, technically. Until Volume 4 comes out, which might never happen. On Friday, I'm going to do a video explaining what's next. There's a whole bunch of stuff I want to do, but there's only one of me, so I'm going to have to kind of put it to you guys a little bit. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, all of that bollocks. And all that's left to say is, thanks very much for watching, and see ya!